about something that happened in the past. Okay? And then if you remember well, I gave you one example about the Titanic, you know, that tragedy. Okay, now let's use a different example. Let's suppose yesterday, for example, a friend of mine had an accident, a car accident. Unfortunately, he was drunk while driving the car. Consequently, he had a terrible car accident. Okay? And now that he is sober, I can tell him, that was really stupid of you, you know? This is what I told him. That was really stupid of you. Because if you hadn't been drunk, I told him, you wouldn't have crashed. Unfortunately for him, he was drunk and he crashed. So as you can see here, this third conditional doesn't help to solve the problem. This is simply to criticize the situation. He was drunk, he was driving the car, and he crashed. Well, and this is what I think. If he hadn't been drunk, he wouldn't have crashed. Unfortunately, he was drunk and he crashed the car. Well, this is what the third conditional is about, when we are regretting about those things in the past. But if you remember well, yesterday I mentioned, when you are using this third conditional, you are supposed to have two sentences. One, which is the condition, and another one, which is the outcome, you know, the result. And instead of using wouldn't have, because this is the verb in past participle, and this is always the same. Instead of this wouldn't have, what else can I probably use?
Might have.
Okay, right. Instead of would have, I can use might have, particularly if we are referring to possibility. So probably if he hadn't been drunk, he might not have crashed. So there is certain amount of possibility here. Maybe yes, maybe not, but okay. So he might not have crashed, or he wouldn't have crashed. What else can I probably use instead of would and might in this conditional?
Could have.
Which one, Pau?
Could have.
Right, could have. Now just remember that in this case, could implies more ability, probably. Well, okay. So probably again, if he hadn't been drunk, he could have done something, or he could have, managed the situation. Yeah, probably he could have done something good instead of crashing. Well, okay. These are the three ways in which I can develop this third conditional. But remember the result, because the situation always remains the same. It's a past perfect. Observe. In this one, we are using would have, might have, and could have. Why have? Because it's referring to the past. That is why I am using the past participle. If I don't use this have, then my sentence would be a second conditional. Because in the second conditional is when we say you wouldn't crash. But you see, this is second conditional. But second conditional is a hypothetical situation referring to the present. But here, I am not talking about, yes, I am using certain hypothetical action, but I am referring to something that has no solution because it's already happened there in the past. That is why. Now, for example, I saw, before that, questions up to here, particularly for the people who were not here last class, Juan, Bruno, etc. No? Are you sure? So far, so clear?
Yeah.
All right. Then remember, we need two sentences here. The condition, as usual, and the result. And the result can come in three different forms. Would, might, and could is exactly the same story. The only difference here is possibility, ability, or maybe the natural result. And remember, this is always referring to past. Let's talk about one of the most brilliant minds last century, Madame Curie. Okay, if you remember well, Madame Curie discovered two important elements on the periodic table, you know, radium and polonium. Okay, this brilliant woman dedicated part of her entire life to discover and study these two elements. Because of her study, she got the Nobel Prize. Everybody knows. Well, okay. What we probably don't know is that she was a very determined person with a very strong character. But it was precisely her strong character and his determination which helped her to be who she was. Okay, now, I could probably tell you, well, if she hadn't, because she was, but if she hadn't what? Tell me, if she hadn't...
A very determined personality.
Okay, so if she hadn't
Discovered?
been, let's say, determined person, or if she hadn't had a very determined character, okay, she wouldn't have discovered those elements because she insisted and insisted and insisted. So that is why we can talk about determination. So if she hadn't been such a determined person, she wouldn't have discovered those elements. And remember that her Nobel Prize depends on those two elements. So she might not have won the Nobel Prize if because this is a possibility, she might not have won the Nobel Prize if
She wouldn't have discovered those elements?
yes, but remember that would is the same as this, might.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but your idea is okay. So if she
hadn't been
okay, if she hadn't
a determined person,
okay, or maybe if she hadn't discovered. Okay, those elements. Yeah, probably she might not have won the Nobel Prize if she hadn't discovered those elements, you know, radium and polonium.
Teacher, that's the second conditional?
No, dear, it's the third.
Still the third conditional. Okay.
How can you know, Bruno, that this is the third? Because observe the perfect tenses. You are using past perfect in the condition. and then you are using might and then have and then the past participle again. Another perfect tense. You see?
Okay, yeah.
Look, wouldn't have, the structure is longer. All right, but remember that here we are simply analyzing something that we can't change, right? We can probably speculate, but we can't change. I mean, there's nothing we can do. Good or bad, it has happened, right? But then, Bruno, observe this. Last class, I also mentioned a very good example of mixed conditionals, something that we will also check in this level. And observe, does anybody remember the example I gave you last class when I told you, hey, this is a very good example of this? Does anybody remember?
Yes.
Yes, Paul, go ahead.
Okay. If you had taken the level 5 during the summer, you will not be with me in this, with you in this class.
Okay, thank you. Yes, because many of you were my students in level 4. So at this point of the year, you should be in level 6, not in level 5. Does everybody agree? But most of you didn't want to take level 5 during the summer. I don't want to know the reasons. Okay. But my conclusion is this. If you have taken level 5 during the summer, you wouldn't be here with me in level 5 right now. And here, I just want you to observe the combination. If you have taken, this is referring to the past because the summer has gone. You wouldn't be, this is reality here, but we are speculating. You wouldn't be here with me in level 5. Why not? Because you should be in level 6. So this combination of something in the past when something in the present, hypothetically speaking, is a very good example for you of a mixed conditional. Is have and have. Let me give you another example, a real life example. Your parents got married, probably more than 25 years ago. Well, if your parents hadn't gotten married, all of you wouldn't exist. Ta-da! This is another real life example of a mixed conditional. If your parents hadn't got married, this is past. They got married. All of you, and this is a present, hypothetically, all of you wouldn't exist. True or false?
True.
It's true. If your parents hadn't gotten married, you wouldn't be here. If you had decided to study in a different school, you wouldn't be a student at Maya. Hey, very good example. Let me put it here. Mixed conditionals, remember. If you had decided to study in a different school, you wouldn't, definitely not. You wouldn't be a student at Maya. No, definitely not. You wouldn't be a student at Maya. Why not? Because you would be in another school, in another university. Definitely. Is everybody following me?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Miss.
So this is for you to see the way we can combine these conditionals. Something that you can do in level 3 or level 4 because you are still learning the future real, the second conditional, the zero conditional, etc., etc. But now that you have seen all those conditionals, now you must be able to do this kind of combinations. Well, So this is a mixed conditional. Now coming back to this one. All right, questions, problems, comments, opinions. I don't want you to be in silence. I don't trust silence. I like questions. I like when my students are alive and they say, teacher, what if I give this example? Is it okay if I, yes, because that gives me the sensation that they are really paying attention. They are not mummies.
Miss, una pregunta, ¿podría poner como que el orden gramatical? Por ejemplo, primero va el if y todo eso, y el sujeto o así, por favor.
All right. Well, yes, of course. Then let me see. I just wanted to.
Miss, pero no vaya a quitar eso porque sigo anotando. Por favor.
Okay. Yes, that's okay.
Oh, bueno, déjame tomar foto y ya.
That's okay. That's okay. Take it easy. I'm still trying to find a color here. Okay, it's because I want to break free. No, wait. Let's see here. This is. Oh, sorry.
Teacher, you can remove it.
Yes.
Don't worry. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, it's here. Ta-da! Okay, I'll bring it back. Okay, so structure. Remember, if, yes, can you see? Condition in past perfect. Result using would have, might have, but don't forget the verb in past participle, or could have. That means that we have three possibilities: might, would, and could. Remember that here it's important that we use the verb in past participle. In the condition as well in the result, there must always be a verb in past participle. Yes, is that okay?
Yes, Miss, thank you.
All right. Yes, Jancy. Don't worry, I will continue. We will continue practicing this, right? And I will also put it on the, how can I say? On the summary, on the class summary. Let me show you in this one. Look. Yeah, you will have it there on the summary. Okay, well, any other question?
No, teacher.
No, are you sure? Now remember, we need the condition and then the result. Okay, what is the condition? Okay, here, let me put it here so Jancy can have it. Okay, so we need if plus the condition. And this condition, remember, must be in past. Let's say past perfect. Immediately after, we have the comma and we have the result. But that result must have would or could or might, either affirmative, negative, or interrogative, whatever, plus have, plus the verb in past participle. Jancy, here is your answer.
Yes, Miss, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. All right, there it is. Okay, let me see if it was really clear for everyone. Let me put a couple of examples here, and then you will give me the possible complements, let's say. All right, here we go. tragedies. This is tragedies always. Okay.
Miss, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The third conditional, ever is in negative, ever is hadn't,
Not always.
or will. Okay.
Not always.
Okay, it could be in
In positive
right?
or in negative.
Okay.
All right. I just want you to observe these three examples of tragedies. And then here, these are the complements and these are the conditions. Let us put, this is going to be
The first.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't put letters. Hang on.
Okay. The number.
So we can use this one, 2, and 3. Got it. Come on, opinions.
Letter A is for number 2.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you. Somebody else?
Examples are for third conditional, ¿verdad?
Oh, yes, all of them.
Okay, thank you.
Miss, letter C goes with number 1.
Okay. Anyone else?
And B, it's number 3.
Okay. Then, Bruno, would you please read your complete sentence, please?
Yeah. If you hadn't unleashed the dog might not have been run over.
Okay. Remember that many times when we have the same word here, it's possible that we make a substitution like this, right? Okay. Thank you. Fatima, your example, please.
If you had been using the seatbelt, you wouldn't have hurt your neck.
And Alex Salvador, your example, please.
Yes. If she had seen both sides before crossing the street, the cycle wouldn't have knocked her.
Okay. There it is. Okay.
Teacher,
Yes, dear.
I have, I think, another answer for the first one, but I don't know if it's okay. Can I tell you?
Sure. Say it.
Yeah, it's, if you had been using the seatbelt, you will not have had a car accident. It's okay?
Okay, you wouldn't have had a car accident.
It is okay?
Okay, yes, grammatically speaking, is correct. But now, in real life, probably the seatbelt can avoid you having a car accident. Probably, but it's okay. Grammatically speaking, it's okay. Don't pay attention to me. It's because the teacher is very peculiar.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's correct. Okay, very nice. You see? Now, observe that here we can probably use would, as I said, might, or could, but could is not here. Now, let's see the other side of the coin. Many times, it's also possible that when you are using this third conditional, we can also use should, and now everybody knows should, what should is. And let me see. There is another one. Okay. All right. This should is also possible to see it in past. You should have. But remember, always with the past participle. Many times when we had the personal obligation or when we need to be careful, instead of using would, might, and could, it is also possible that we use this should in the past, should have. For example, a friend of mine went to a restaurant. That restaurant is always crowded, it's always cramped. And so that is why they insist that people should make a reservation much before they go to the restaurant. But that time, my friend went to the restaurant. And guess what? When they arrived, there were no free tables. And they have to wait and wait and wait. And this is when my other friend said, oh, you know what? You should have made a reservation, my other friend said. Unfortunately, they didn't. They didn't make the reservation, and therefore they had to wait and wait and wait. Well, so many times it's also possible that when we are referring to something that in the past, about something that we had the obligation, the personal obligation to do, is when we should have done something. Remember that last class, I told you that when we are using would have, we can make a contraction. Does anybody remember those contracted forms? Really? Nobody?
Would, could, might, and should.
All right. Thank you, Liz. Remember, contracted form for would have, we have would have. Obviously, plus the verb in past participle. The past participle, okay, that's the ideal complement. Might have, contracted form. Might have. And then we were practicing the pronunciation. Could have.
Could have.
Could have. And remember that I told you that this contracted form is more commonly used in conversation, in spoken English. Not in written. Well, yes, in written too, but more likely to say it in spoken. And should have?
Should have.
Should have, that's right. Actually, I told you about pronunciation. Would have, might have, could have, and should have. And then I make a little observation. This is not the sound of B, but the sound of what, Ale Sebadua?
F.
F, that's right. Would have, can you hear? Might have, could have, and should have. And then I told you this ending is practically the sound of an F, not a V. It's practically the sound of an F. Actually, I gave you another example, this one. Many people think that here this is off. No, off with F is this. This is off. This one is of, as if you had a B here. But okay, that is terms of pronunciation. Well, should is welcome to the family. Should have. I should have mentioned this before, but I didn't. I had the personal obligation to do it, but I didn't. Okay? This is should have. Yeah? Okay.
Teacher,
Yes, dear.
how is the pronunciation of what is the meaning of might have?
The meaning in Spanish, podría haber.
Okay.
For example, Okay, look at this, Jesus. Read the example, please, Jesus.
This might have been a wonderful day, but my grandpa passed away.
Mhm. So, this might, podría haber sido un día maravilloso, pero mi abuelo falleció. Entonces, la posibilidad queda ahí, pero algo sucedió. Ajá.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Okay, let me see. Mari, are you there? Mari?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Could you please read the example?
You might have passed the exam, but you didn't study enough.
Okay. So, Jesus, the possibility is there. You might have passed the exam, but you didn't study enough. Entonces, podrías haber pasado el examen, pero no estudiaste lo suficiente. Yes, class? Is everybody following me?
Yes, teacher, but I have
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Pau.
conditional too, or not?
This is part of the conditional? Not really.
Because don't have
Because we don't have the rest of the complement. No, this is simply showing you how to use this might referring to a past event.
okay, only an example of mine.
Eventually, you will learn those models. This is the way we call them, models in past. Well, this is an example of those models in past. Eventually, we will see them. This is not exactly an example of a fair conditional. No, it's just an example of how to use might in past.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Okay, you're welcome, dear. Well, and then let me see. Let us listen very quickly to a listening so you can see the use of this should have, but in the real context, in the listening like this. Okay, so that is why let me share the screen with you. Okay. Okay. That's one. All right. Is it possible for everyone to visualize the screen?
Yes, Miss.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this one? Listen to the conversations again, then answer the questions. Yes, we are going to answer the questions, but I just want you to pay attention to the use of those should have, would have, and etc., etc. Ready? Here we go.
1. Is everything okay with your food?
Yes, it's fine. But, I should have told you that I don't eat meat.
Oh dear.
I'm really sorry. You went to all this trouble.
There's no need to apologize. It's not a problem.
No, I should have said something earlier.
It's okay. I should have asked you if there was anything you couldn't eat. It's my fault. I'll make you something else.
No, please don't. The vegetables are delicious, and there's plenty to eat.
Are you sure?
Yes, really, I'm enjoying this. I'll just leave the meat if that's okay with you.
It's so sweet. I just want you to listen to the pronunciation. That's all what you want to do, right? Forget about the questions. I just want you to hear the way they are using should have. I should have asked you before. I should have apologized. I should have, and I should have. Okay, one more time. Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
teacher.
1. Is everything okay with your food?
Yes, it's fine. But, I should have told you that I don't eat meat.
Oh dear.
I'm really sorry. You went to all this trouble.
There's no need to apologize. It's not a problem.
No, I should have said something earlier.
It's okay. I should have asked you if there was anything you couldn't eat. It's my fault. I'll make you something else.
No, please don't. The vegetables are delicious, and there's plenty to eat.
Are you sure?
Yes, really, I'm enjoying this. I'll just leave the meat if that's okay with you.
Okay. Did you hear?
Yes, sure.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
teacher.
yes, you can probably tell me what is the problem here?
That she
She
don't.
doesn't eat meat.
Right. She doesn't eat meat. Yes. And poor him. He was cooking. Meat. And then the girl tries to apologize. Apologize is precisely when you say, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is apologize. I should have said before. I should have. Okay, that one. Okay, conversation 2.
Oh my goodness, what was that?
I dropped the tray of glasses.
Oh, those nice glasses from Italy?
I couldn't help it. I slipped.
Are you okay? Let me help you up. You are clumsy, though.
Don't blame me. This floor is slippery.
Yes, but if you'd been more careful.
Look, it was an accident. It could have happened to anyone.
I know. It's not your fault. Sorry I got upset.
It is a shame about those glasses, though. We just got them.
Okay, and then the man is using could have. Okay. Yes, dear.
What is the meaning of clumsy?
Clumsy.
Clumsy. I heard this.
Torpe. The woman is calling the man torpe. He says, you're so clumsy. I was like, yes, you can say the word, but you should be more thoughtful. You seem more considerate. You can say, yes, you're so clumsy. You're practically calling him a stupid. Yes, you stupid man. No, well, okay. Yes? Okay, shall we listen? Second conversation.
2.
Oh my goodness, what was that?
I dropped the tray of glasses.
Oh, those nice glasses from Italy?
I couldn't help it. I slipped.
Are you okay? Let me help you up. You are clumsy, though.
Don't blame me. This floor is slippery.
Yes, but if you'd been more careful.
Look, it was an accident. It could have happened to anyone.
I know. It's not your fault. Sorry I got upset.
It is a shame about those glasses, though. We just got them.
Okay. So what is the problem here?
The man dropped the glasses.
The tray, he was probably carrying, the tray bandeja, and he was carrying the tray and then he dropped it accidentally, but he dropped it. Now, why does he drop the tray of glasses?
Because he slipped.
That means that probably the floor, well, this is what he says, the floor was slippery. Yeah. Okay, thank you. But the woman got really upset, right? Okay, third conversation.
3.
I'm so sorry I kept you waiting. The bus didn't come.
Were you waiting for the number 46?
Yes, it was supposed to come at 5:30.
Don't worry about it. That bus is terrible. It's always late.
I tried to call you, but I couldn't get through.
I think my phone is turned off. Sorry about that.
Oh no, I'm almost an hour late.
It's okay. It's just one of those things. Buses are unreliable. Anyway, you're here now. That's the main thing.
There you go. Okay. Well, in these 3 conversations, we can hear not only the pronunciation for that should have and could have using the contracted form, but here we can probably hear the way people are making and accepting apologies. In this case, apology will be a new vocabulary word for us. Right. Let me put it here. Apology. This is and apologize. Apologize here is when this is a verb. Let me put it here. This is the verb and this is the noun. When we are saying, I'm sorry, we are apologizing. Or when we say, please excuse me, we are offering our apologies. Okay. So these two new vocabulary words for us, we have apologize and apology. And remember, this is when we say, I'm sorry, because we want to make up an excuse. Well, not exactly to make up an excuse, but okay, to do something. All right, I have enough time. Well, I just want you to add these two vocabulary words, apology, apologize, to the words that we saw last class. In this case, fit, which is also the verb, fetch, which is also a verb, and plenty. Oh, by the way, here in the recording, the woman, she says plenty of, okay, which is exactly the same story. It depends on the region of the United States where you hear this word. Some people say plenty, some other people say plenty, but in the end it's the same. Well, please make sure you have this, because these vocabulary words will be not only included on the exam, but we will be working with them in different sentences, right? Okay. Could anybody please send them to the chat? Okay.
What do you say, teacher?
This one's there. These 2, 4, 5 words. Just keep them in mind, put them there in your notebook, because we are going to start working with them. Thank you there. And somebody send the picture to the chat. Okay, well, very quickly, let us finish with this and let me show you the following. Prefixes. The word is not completely new for you because you will, I know this is in level 3, we were working with suffixes. Prefixes, you know, it's the particle that we put at the beginning of the word so we can give us an opposite meaning. A prefix can be in, on, im, ir. There are some others, but originally, let's begin with this. Well, many times we have certain words that when we use them with a prefix like this, then we are giving an opposite, you know. Yes, an opposite. How can I say? The contrary. Okay. Let's suppose that we have the word polite, regular, employed, patient. What else? Experience. Experience. Likely. Comfortable. Okay, and another, regular, employed, patient, experience, likely, comfortable, and okay, and let's suppose interesting. All right. Many times when we have these adjectives and we need to use the negative adjective, we simply use a prefix at the beginning of the word and then we make them the opposite. For example, well, does everybody remember these words? Any new? Polite, regular, employed, patient, experienced, likely, comfortable, and interesting. No problem? Okay. Well, for example, opposite, impolite, opposite, irregular, opposite, unemployed, opposite, impatient, opposite, inexperienced, opposite, unlikely, opposite, uncomfortable, opposite, uninteresting. Okay, so you see, as simple as that. When we need to make uncomfortable, when we need to make the opposite of those words, is when we can probably use a prefix and then we simply give the opposite of those words. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, is everybody following me?
Yes.
Okay. Kids, questions, doubts, problems?
No, teacher, all clear.
Well, okay. And then let me see if it's possible for me to call on the attendance. Okay. Well, kids, practically, this is the end of the story. Remember that next class, we are, well, not next class, but in 1 week from today, Robert and Fatima will be presenting the very first reading. Right now, I will call on 3 more people so they can make a different reading.